Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course, and we are pleased to be joined by none other than Jay Harris, of course, who's one of the longtime anchors of Sports Center. You mostly can see him on the weekends with Hannah Storm. Jay, how are you doing, man?
Good, Casey. How are you?
I'm doing well. What a year it's been for sports fans and sports in general, and especially for you. What has it been to describe the last, we can really say, year that you've been doing this job and telling stories about sports and stuff?
Um, I don't think I could boil it down to one word. It'd be a year of adjustment, a year of discovery, um, a year of finding out exactly what you can do when you have to do it. Um, it's been an experience, um, but I always like to keep it in perspective. I mean, I do television, so we have to adjust by social distancing on the set, social distancing in the newsroom, not being able to have analysts or people in the studio with us. Um, if I look at the overall um, global pandemic, that's easy to do. I mean, in the United States, we just passed the 500,000 mark for people who died of COVID.
Yeah.
Um, many more were hospitalized or caught the virus in some form. So the small sacrifice that I've had to do to talk about sports on TV is quite minimal. And I don't let myself forget that.
No. This has been it's not just been a year of, with COVID, but especially with all these social justice movements, across the United States as well. From that perspective, what's been important for you to tell the story from that side of things?
It's about time, be honest with you. Um, I don't necessarily like, you know, social justice movement or civil rights movement
Yeah.
because it's all about humans,
Right.
it's a human being thing.
Mhm.
And I think if more of the people who were in positions of power or prominence um, would think about others as human beings and be more empathetic, do a little bit more study of history, we wouldn't be where we are. We wouldn't need to have these movements and marches and uproars and everything. Maybe we'd be a little careful going in. Um, Maybe there wouldn't be a George Floyd if the overall law enforcement structure in America was just a tad bit more empathetic. Um, there wouldn't be a Breonna Taylor or Ahmaud Arbery if people didn't feel that they were privileged enough to hunt someone down in broad daylight because they thought he was robbing a house when they really didn't. It was just a black guy running through a white neighborhood. I mean, it's I'm old enough to where I don't have time for stupidity anymore, to
Yeah.
be quite honest with you. And I'm just tired of people's mess. And we're better than this.
Right.
Or we like to say we're better than this, but we don't always act it. And it's past time for us to start acting it. We allow ourselves to be pawns in political games. Um, we self-label ourselves and put ourselves in boxes, whether it be left or right or Republican or Democrat or conservative or liberal. Why are we limiting ourselves like that? Why? I'm not putting myself in a box. I'm not going to be limited by some man-made constraint. That's just dumb to me. Why? Why would I do that? Why would I want to close off my world perspective based on something that someone else said? Why would I do that? So I'm sorry to ramble, but as you can tell, it kind of gets me fired up because it it just bothers me.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people, including myself, because of course, I mean, obviously, it's for me, being on the being on having a documented disability with autism, I kind of feel, I kind of feel the left out part of it. So
Mhm.
it's you know, I it's just, making my way through this business you know, is just a challenge in itself. And, being able to talk to people like you who've been around for a long time, it's a really big deal. So thanks for talking about those kinds of things with that. But
So
anyway,
what's it like, uh, having autism, dealing with autism, working with autism in this business, trying to do what you do?
um really it's a challenge because, when you have the per when you have it when I first started this, it was like all new to me. It's just you have to, you want to, know enough about the sport, but you have to know people, you have to talk to people, you have to understand people. People may not colleagues of mine first didn't understand like what I'm all about. Why do I act a certain way? Why do I, tend to, do some of the things that I really that I really like to do. And, you know, what I'm really surprised about is, the support that I've received from it. When you have, there was first the Big Ten, and, I covered Michigan for 3 years. I also, NASCAR, IndyCar has accepted me, for who I am. This is my fifth year doing this. So it's really kind of like just an experience. And, Great Lakes Post, to who I work for, was with, all the writers and photographers are, high functioning adults with autism. So it's been quite the challenge. I still feel like, I've gotten used to, I understand that, not everyone's, going to like you or and all that. And but, respect me for, who I am, not how I act and stuff.
How specifically does autism affect you, day to day?
Affects me a lot. It's something really, it's just the interaction, with people. Sometimes, maybe you get upset at the littlest things make you, upset. I'm a lot better now because of, my parents and a big support system, especially through school. um it's it's definitely something that something that I've been very fortunate to have, because, many people, because of when you were when in the late 90s, many people didn't know about this.
Mhm.
Now it's really kind of up there. It's really, everyone's starting to get it. But just think that, with everything going on in the world with, not just, for people with special needs, but, the system is kind of broken for, people like me. So that's why my boss created the site that I have, the site that I work for, to give these people an opportunity. Because the worst thing is the job interview process
Mm.
is the best thing for all this. It's just, when you go to the interview process, something like me, we tend not to do well in that. Because when you go in front of these kinds of people, it's like, you're nervous, you're tensed up, you're sort of that, and you really don't know what to expect.
Mm.
It's like they're going to ask you all these types of questions and say, "Ooh, I don't, I don't really know I don't really know the right thing to say here." And that's kind of like what people like me struggle with, whether it's just not in sports, it's in, trying to, entry level jobs in corporate America, or, you know, it's, it's tough for all of us. But, I've been able to overcome these things, and I've gotten a lot of respect. I mean, I've interviewed a lot of people. I mean, this job alone, to cover a top team like Michigan, that was probably a big highlight. Now with, me covering, with NASCAR and all that, they've been really, really supportive of me and my coverage of the sport. And it's IndyCar as well, and other forms of motorsport. I've done some PGA stuff as well. It's been good. I feel like this is the job I've always wanted to do. And it's been a tough road, and I still have a long way to go, but I'm gonna get there.
Good, good. I didn't mean to flip it. I mean,
No,
one,
no, that's
it's what I
fine.
do. But I was curious, so I needed to ask. So thank you for answering.
Hey, no problem. So kind of, go into, you know, what's been the best moment that you've had covering, with Sports Center, and some of the best moments that you've had, you know, in this, because there's had to be some.
I don't know where to start. I mean, to be totally honest with you, I could, just today was probably I had a best moment just doing Friday Fun Day with Hannah with funny video and just going back and forth and vibing off of what we see. Um, I don't necessarily say like, covering the covering the NBA finals was and covering going to the Super Bowl. I I I honestly, stuff like that is great, and stuff like that that I've been able to do is fantastic. But the best moments are the things that happen every day. When I lose a shot sheet and have to regroup, and my co-anchor laughs at me, and just little things like that. And there's so many of those that that give me my best days or best moments. So it's kind of hard to narrow them down.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at, moments that, and I've had some too. It's like, these going to these big events, like for the first time, it's good for me because, most of them I hadn't, really done yet so far. But you got to think with, because we're heading into, with March Madness and the Masters and all that, we're coming up on some, pretty good times in the sporting world right now. What's been the most exciting thing that, that's happened in, this week? Of course, the biggest surprise was JJ Watt going to the Cardinals.
Um, yeah, that was a surprise. Well, see, I don't know if that was the biggest surprise. I mean, the biggest surprise could have been what Greg McDermott said to his team that got him suspended. I mean, this is really 2021, and we're using that kind of language. That kind of surprised me.
That did.
So yeah, I mean, every day I was surprised. Well, I guess I wasn't surprised that the Pistons and Blake Griffin got the buyout
Yeah.
because I mean that
I
relationship.
mean, I'm in Detroit, so it's
Yeah,
really,
and it's kind of expected.
yeah, we
Um,
knew that.
Lots of surprises, daily surprises.
Yeah. Um, the NBA. Let's go to that. How fun is it covering the NBA? Because it feels like, there's, you have all these teams moving around. You have this team, and then you have, these a certain few teams, and then you have everybody else. What's it like? You've covered the NBA a lot over the years. What's been the biggest thing that you've kind of learned about yourself in covering?
Learn about myself. Um, I don't know if there's anything specifically that I've learned about myself. I've learned that while yes, in the NBA you can, well, you think you can pick out who's going to be in the playoffs at the beginning of the year and who's going to be make the championship round. And fortunately or unfortunately, a lot of times that comes true. But then even during that, you get particular runs like the Jazz are on right now, like the Phoenix Suns are on right now. Kind of expected the Nets to do what they're doing. Um, so I I I try to what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Um, Keep perspective, and I try to think broadly instead of narrowly, and I don't want to just look at the nets, because if I just look at the nets and get caught up in the nets and the big three, then I miss what Phoenix is doing, or I miss what Utah is doing.
Yeah.
So it has taught me to to look where I least expect something might happen, because chances are something's going to happen.
Right. Um, what, I know there's a lot of people that want to get into, broadcasting, go into TV, going to do all that stuff. What is the biggest part of advice you would give to somebody?
Go into medicine. That was a joke. Do something else besides television. Nah, I would tell them to start early. If it's your passion, start doing it. I've had college seniors in their last semester ask me to help them, like, can you help me find an internship? I'm like, it's too late. I mean, you should have done that in the eighth grade if this is what you want to do. I mean, start your networking, uh, write a blog, do a video blog, do your own newscast or sportscast. Start now practicing, writing, interviewing. Google the people that you like and check out their backgrounds and see what they had to do, and to see if you have the stomach to do similar things. Um, I, I, I tell folks, I tell them all that stuff, but start early.
Yeah.
If it's your passion, just go for it and do it. Work for free, volunteer, join organizations. I said network already, but
Yeah.
you have to immerse yourself and start as soon as you know. That's when you should start. I
Yeah.
mean, I started. Well, I knew in the 11th grade off of a career aptitude test, and I scored well in the area of interpersonal skills, and the jobs underneath it, I think journalist was like the third one down. So I decided in the 11th grade I was going to be a journalist. Now, I didn't maximize my intern possibilities in college. I only had one. I did a little networking. I could have done more if I'd have had someone to tell me. Like I was kind of like trial and error, because I was the only one. All the rest of my friends were in other fields, and my parents didn't know anything about it. So I was kind of out on my own. Um, but I would also tell them, people want to be a particular kind of, I want to be a sportscaster, I want to be a newscaster. I'm like, forget all that. No, you don't. You want to be a storyteller, period. You want to be a journalist, period. Because you never know where the job might be. You never know what you might have to do. You might not get to be a sportscaster and follow your dream out of college. News job might open up. So you might have to take that. So you use it to your advantage. You learn your interviewing. You practice your interviewing. You practice writing your packages and telling your stories and doing your live shots, because at the core of it, it's all the same. The subject matter is just different, but the foundation, the everyday function, the everyday writing and storytelling and interviewing and meeting deadlines, it's all the same. So just do it, however and wherever you can do it.
Yeah. I mean, I started when I was 21, so it was. I mean, I'm 25 now, and I'm still. You still want to learn. You still like. You still do things, and you learn things every day. That's been the biggest thing with me. As I've gone through. I've met a ton of people that have helped me a lot, from PR sides, broadcasters, to really everyone that's gotten me through kind of this journey, when you because you know it's cool to meet these people, but it's even cooler to have them kind of tell you what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. And I had that a lot early on in my career, and it was pretty good. So um I also want to ask you about Tiger, of course, Tiger Woods. you know I know, if you saw that was, I don't know, people are awestruck at how he actually survived that. But
There's a great commercial for the Genesis SUV, I tell you that.
yeah, um, obviously Tiger's impact on the game of golf is one thing, but his impact on the world of sports is another. What does Tiger Woods have that gets that just when he won the Masters, it moves nations, as how someone described it to me. What has Tiger Woods meant to the sports world, do you think?
His dad said he was going to change the world. I can't remember the exact quote that Mr. Earl Woods said,
Yeah.
but he was groomed from a young age to be very special, kind of like the Williams sisters, groomed at a young age to be very special by a very stubborn father, kind of like the Jackson Five. It's the same kind of thing. My kid has talent, and I'm going to see this talent through because no one can do it better than me.
Yeah.
I get it. I totally get it. The Ball brothers and their family situation, their dad is like, these are my boys. They're going to be great. I get it. I think it's beautiful. I think it's wonderful. I think it's fantastic. Um, Tiger has gotten people into golf. He's excited folks because he's just so good at it. Because his skin is brown, because he was flamboyant. He knew he was good and wanted to destroy everyone in his path. And he honestly he made the game. He made the game fun, made the game feel inclusive, even though sometimes it wasn't. And depending on where you are, it's still not. But it made it feel inclusive.
Yeah.
And he we love greatness. I mean, pick a sport. Our heroes, people we look up to, they do superhuman things. That's what we comic books. We make fantasy worlds because we just like that stuff. When it's real life, it's even better. And then you get out on the golf course and you stripe a 3-wood 290 yards. You're like, yeah, our Tiger did that, and I can do it too. I can't really do it, but maybe I could do it once. But he's special. He can do it all the time. So there's the relatability there thing. It's I, there's so much with Tiger that he's just he's just great.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Um, there's, and then, one of the first sports to come back from COVID was NASCAR. And of course, you know, as NASCAR came back and, addressed, with obviously coming back from COVID and then dealing, because when the movement kind of started, no one was really in action because baseball, NBA, NHL were all not playing yet. When of course I'm talking about Bubba Wallace. What have you been impressed about with him and everything that he's done and everything that NASCAR has done in this past year?
Dealing with Bubba and the whole diversity thing, is that where you're going?
Yes.
I think NASCAR has really made an effort to diversify the sport. It's to be commended. I think Bubba's perseverance, um, because to put yourself in a place where you don't necessarily see yourself, but you can do it. That takes a special person. So just the fact that um, he's followed in the footsteps of other Black drivers. Um, it's it's fantastic to see, but it's frustrating to see because, and I thought about this today, um, because we had the news of like the NFL just hired its first Black female referee,
Right.
and we came across in the newsroom. We were like, there hasn't been a Black female referee already. It feels like there has been. We're like, I don't know. We did a search. No, she's the first one. And I'm thinking, wow, that's great. But simultaneously, that's really sad. It's freaking 2021. And we're still doing these firsts based on the color of folks' skin. I mean, okay, great to celebrate, but we really need to do some introspection. What the hell is wrong with us? What took so long? And why does it continue to take so long for certain things? I mean, why is there a pipeline for sports for some folks and not others? I mean, why is it? Why do we continue to do this to ourselves? Why? Then we want to celebrate it first, but we don't dig into it and dig into why it is the first. Well, it's the first because, well, there haven't been any others. Well, why haven't been there any others? And then you talk about things that are uncomfortable, folks don't like to talk about, but we talk about it anyway because it's not going away. It's there. It's truth. And it's great, but it's frustrating at the same time
Yeah.
because there's just so many things that we need to deal with as human beings in this country, in particular, as Americans. Um, then we need to get a little uncomfortable. Like Emmanuel Acho, we need to have some uncomfortable conversations, and we need to think about them, and we need to act on them.
So, um,
Sorry for rambling. I can do that.
you're good, man. You are all good. Um, this is why you're such a great guest, because you're not afraid to say what you have to say. So,
No, thank you.
um, most importantly, I think did you ever think that you would have as much success as you have
Oh,
that
heck
you've
no,
had in your career?
dude. No, heck no. I didn't see any of this. I mean,
I didn't either. For me,
no. Um, yeah, I remember. I shucks starting in radio, working for free. And then you know,
that's what I started my first few years doing.
yeah, working my way up, gaining skills and building my foundation, and making a whole lot of mistakes, deciding that it wasn't for me and trying to quit, and then that didn't work, and having to go back and try again. No, I didn't see any of this. I'm very blessed, very fortunate um, to to meet some great people, to have help from a lot of great people, to be in the situations where there were situations that were coming open. Uh, the relationships, the timing. It's been a it's all of it plays a part. All of it plays a part. But no, I never saw any of this. But it's been great. I
Yeah.
was talking to um, my wife the other day. We drove past ESPN. I said, "Oh, look, there's ESPN. I've worked there for 18 years." And then I thought about it. And I went, "Oh my God, we've been here 18 years. I didn't see that coming. And it just happened. And it's been a fantastic ride. And I'm not ready for the ride to be over. I'm gonna put a couple more quarters in the ride so it keeps going."
Yeah. I mean, this is my fifth year doing this. I'm just getting started.
Congratulations. Yes, keep going.
That's how I seriously look at it. But anyway, hey Jay, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me today. Let's have you on again sometime, because you're always a fun guest to be on, and I've always respect you and your work at ESPN. And thank you for doing this seriously.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you.